Finishing up our work for this week on formulas, here are the notes for slide 5. So we're still going to be reviewing a few more examples of the distance formula. That distance formula is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. We're going to continue with a few more examples. So example number 3, we have a, which is at negative 7, 2, that is x1, y1, and b is at 3, negative 3, that is x2, y2. So for our distance between those 2 points, it's going to be equal to the square root of 3 minus negative 7 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 squared, making sure that your ordered pairs 3, negative 3 end up in the same position. So negative 7 and then a positive 2. They're in the same position. Going through the order of operations, we start inside the parentheses. So 3 minus negative 7 is like 3 plus 7. So that would be 10 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 would be negative 5 squared. That's all still in the square root. Ten squared is 100 plus negative 5 squared is 25. So that becomes the square root of 125. We can simplify the square root of 125 by breaking 125 up into perfect squares. So that would be the square 25, and we have 5 of them. So the square root of 125 is the same as the square root of 25 times the square root of 5. The square root of 25 is 5, and then the square root of 5 is the square root of 5. Now, of course, we could also have the decimal approximation, but let's leave it in radical form. And then for number 4, your school is 4 miles east and 1 mile south of your apartment. A recycling center where your class is going on a field trip is 2 miles east and 3 miles north of your apartment. Find the exact distance between the recycling center and your school. So they're using north, east, and south here, but that does match up with our coordinate grid because north would be positive, east would be positive, south would be negative, and west would also be negative if we had west. So when they say that the school is 4 miles east, they're really telling us that our x-coordinate is a positive 4. And when they say that the school is 1 mile south, they're telling us that the y-coordinate is negative 1. Same thing goes for the recycling center. When they say that our recycling center is 2 miles east of your apartment, they're saying that it is a positive 2 for that x value. And when they say it's 3 miles north of your apartment, they're saying that it is a positive 3 for that y value. So the distance between those 2 points is going to equal the square root of 2 minus 4 squared plus 3 minus negative 1 squared. Once again, double checking to make sure our first ordered pair 4, negative 1 are both in the same position. They're both second. And then our second ordered pair 2, 3 are both in the same position. They are both first. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So we have negative 2 squared. And then 3 minus negative 1 would be a positive 4 squared. Negative 2 squared is a positive 4, and positive 4 squared is 16. So now we have the square root of 4 plus 16, which is 20. And we can break that down as well. So we have 20, which is equal to the square, the perfect square, 4 times 5. So it's like the square root of 4 times the square root of 5, and the square root of 4 is 2. So the distance between those 2 points is 2 root 5. And we can put that into our calculator to get a decimal approximation.